She went to Afghanistan to expose the Taliban. She disguised herself in a burqa, smuggling a hidden camera beneath the folds of the cloth she once mocked. She was fearless until the day fear found her. When she was captured by the Taliban, the world expected torture, hatred, revenge. But what happened instead left even her enemies speechless. This is not a story of war. It's a story of faith, of irony, of transformation. A woman who entered the battlefield of ideology to destroy a religion and walked out carrying its book in her hands. This is the true story of Yvonne Ridley, the British journalist who found light in the darkest place on earth. The year was 2001. The world was on the edge of chaos, and every news headline screamed one word: terror. Journalists rushed into Afghanistan searching for stories, for photos, for the next headline that could define their career. Among them was Yvonne Ridley, bold, skeptical, and determined to uncover what she believed to be the truth about Islam. To her, Islam was the symbol of oppression. The Taliban, its living proof. So she planned to go undercover, to capture their cruelty, to write the story that would shake the world. But destiny had written a different article. Because when you enter a land searching for monsters, sometimes, you end up meeting men who change your entire definition of humanity. She entered Afghanistan dressed as a local woman, her face covered, her voice silent. Every step she took was heavy not from fear but from arrogance. I'm here to expose them, she thought. To show the world what barbarism looks like. But her disguise didn't last long. At a checkpoint near Jalalabad, she was discovered. The burqa was pulled back, her camera found, her secret exposed. Soldiers surrounded her. Blindfolded her, took her away. She expected brutality. She imagined dark cells shouting violence. But when the blindfold came off, she was shocked. The room was simple, no chains, no weapons. They brought her food, water. They never touched her, never insulted her. Instead, they said something she never expected. "Sister, you are safe here." That word, sister, echoed in her mind. How could my captors call me that? For 10 days, Yvonne was held captive. The Taliban guards took turns speaking with her politely, calmly, even joking at times. One of them asked, "Why do you hate Islam so much?" "Because it oppresses women," she snapped. The man smiled. "Then when you are free, read our book and judge for yourself." She laughed. "Sure, I'll read your book," but the guard's tone changed. "No," he said softly, "promise me you will." She didn't understand why he cared so much, but she gave her word. 10 days later, she was released. The world celebrated her as a survivor. Cameras flashed, reporters cheered, but deep inside she remembered his last words: "Read it with an open heart." That night, alone in her flat in London, she couldn't sleep. That promise, that single sentence wouldn't leave her mind. Back in London, she was treated as a hero. Her story filled newspapers. British journalist escapes the Taliban. But the truth was she hadn't escaped. She had been released, and that detail disturbed her. She began to replay every moment in her head, the calmness of her captors, the respect, the gentleness. None of it fit the narrative she had believed for years. Either they were acting, she thought, or I've been lied to. Days turned into weeks. Finally, one evening, she pulled out a translation of the Qur'an she had bought just to keep her promise. The first line she read was, "In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful." She frowned. Merciful, that's not what I expected. Page after page, she found verses about justice, kindness, intellect, patience. There is no compulsion in religion. Do not let hatred of others make you swerve from justice. This wasn't the book of violence she imagined. It was a book of balance, of reason, of truth. For the first time, the journalist who questioned everything began questioning herself. Her curiosity became obsession. She attended Islamic lectures in secret, sitting quietly in the back rows, pretending to be a reporter researching extremism. But the more she listened, the more her heart softened. She met Muslim women, doctors, teachers, activists, women of strength and dignity who laughed freely, debated intelligently, and spoke of God as if they knew him. Where are the oppressed women I was told about? She wondered. One night she opened the Qur'an again and found a verse that stopped her completely. "O mankind, we created you from a single male and female, and made you into nations and tribes, so that you may know one another, not despise one another." She felt something rise inside her. "If this is Islam," she whispered, "then I've been blind my whole life." Weeks later, Yvonne stood in a small London mosque. Surrounded by women in silence, she uttered words she had once ridiculed.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله.
"I bear witness there is no God but Allah and Mohammed is his messenger." In that moment, the walls between East and West, Islam and the media, broke inside one human heart. The journalist who came to expose Islam had become one of its defenders. The British press erupted. Yvonne Ridley converts to Islam. From prisoner to believer, many mocked her. Others called her brainwashed, but she stood firm. "I didn't convert because of fear," she said. "I converted because of logic." She began to write again, not as a critic, but as a witness. She spoke at universities, conferences, and international events, challenging Western misconceptions about Islam, women, and faith. Her message was simple. If you want to understand Islam, don't watch the news. Read the Qur'an. She reminded audiences that the men she met in captivity didn't preach hatred, they practiced patience. And she would often end her speeches with the same sentence: "The Taliban captured my body, but Islam captured my heart." Every human being carries a story of truth waiting to be discovered. For Yvonne, it began not in a mosque, but in a prison cell. Sometimes God hides guidance in the places we fear most. She went to expose cruelty and found compassion. She went to destroy faith and found her own. 20 years later, her story continues to inspire journalists, scholars, and skeptics alike. Because in a world drowning in noise, sometimes the loudest revelation comes from silence. And one promise, made to a stranger in a war zone, became the promise that changed her life forever. This was not the story she planned to write, but the one God had written for her.